Hello folks, especially ladies. Welcome back to the C Morning Show right here on C Today. It's already a week of fasting in the holy month of Ramadan and the most awaited moment by Muslims around the world. But of course, many breastfeeding mothers, this is a time that we're a bit worried and kind of questioning ourselves. What kind of question usually pop up, Rasha?
That's right. Now the question is, can breastfeeding mothers fast? May have crossed your mind because mothers are advised to fulfill their nutritional needs while breastfeeding their babies. Now breastfeeding mothers are actually not allowed to participate in fasting. However, few of them still want to fast.
So don't you worry anymore, mothers, because right now we're going to know about healthy fasting, especially for the breastfeeding mothers out there, our fellow mothers. Joining with us today in the morning, pediatrician and lactation consultant, Dr. Ranti Astria. Good morning, Dr. Ranti. Thank you so much for being here with us.
Good morning.
Just to let you guys know, back before coming in, there's already a lot of women in our studio asking Dr. Ranti for a consultation. But yes, let's, right now to unveil the elephant in the room. Is it okay for breastfeeding mothers to fast?
Okay, so first of all, thank you for having me here. And as we know in the Quran, it says that breastfeeding mothers are allowed not to fast, especially if there's health concern for the mother or the babies. However, especially in our country with lots of Muslims, a lot of breastfeeding women want to fast.
Of course.
For their faith and beliefs. And there are a few conditions for that. So first, we don't recommend exclusively breastfeeding mothers. So those who are breastfeeding their babies from newborn to 6 months,
Yes.
or even dominantly breastfeeding, to fast at all. And this is in concurrent with the statement policy from International Baby Food Action Network in 2016 that says that we recommend for exclusive breastfeeding mothers not to fast. But for mothers whose babies are already starting solids and both the mothers and babies are healthy, they can fast, but there are certain conditions.
Okay.
Okay, the first one being, the mother and the baby should be healthy, in good nutritional status, no health issues. And the second one should be the mother still needs to fulfill the dietary needs,
Yes.
as though as she's not fasting.
Okay.
So for example, for a breastfeeding mother, they need around 500 calories more than their normal dietary intake to breastfeed. So that should be fulfilled even though they're fasting. And also for liquids, they need around 2.5 to 3 liters of liquids per day to make enough breast milk.
Yeah.
So if they can fulfill that in the time that they can eat, so during iftar and sahur, then it's probably okay.
Because we fast about 12 to 14 hours, so that's without food and without solids and without liquid at all. Just to mention, by the way, if you're breastfeeding, 500 calories a day, by the way, mothers. I love that. We can't even run a day with 500 calories. Can you imagine?
So what are actually the effects of fasting to breastfeeding mothers? Does it has an effect on the nutritional value of the milk or the quality of the milk as well?
Yeah, so by fasting, there's a state of slight starvation and dehydration during certain times of day.
Yes.
Right, so in those times, actually the amount of milk, the volume of milk produced could be affected.
Right.
So for example, if you're breastfeeding in the middle of the day, then you probably will have not the same amount of breast milk.
Yes. It decreases, right?
Yeah, it decreases. And different if we're breastfeeding at night when the mother is fully hydrated, and not hungry anymore.
Right.
So that's why we need to still pace ourselves. And as for the nutritional content, actually there's a study in 2006 that says that the macronutrients such as carbohydrates and proteins are not really significantly different between the fasting or non-fasting mothers because they take that from the storage from the mother.
Right.
Yeah, so going back to that 500 calories per day, so it can take from our fat storage to make that. But for micronutrients, there is a significant decrease, such as zinc, magnesium, and potassium. So because we know that, then if we really decide that we want to fast,
Yes.
then we should make sure that those macronutrients are included in the baby's diet. Because we're talking about babies who are already starting solid foods, right?
Right, right.
So we need to incorporate that in
Right.
the baby's food.
So there's a lot of agenda, mothers, by the way, before you are going to fast, especially if you're still exclusively breastfeeding right now. Just want to mention, do we need another, or the mothers need extra supplements for vitamins? And let's say, Dr. Ranti, I mean, we cannot be oblivious. There's a lot of mothers, especially that has the second or third or fourth babies. They're like, okay, I went through the program before. This time, after a delivery, I'm going to go on diet, right? And it's on a fasting month too. Some diet is going to be very different. Would that be okay? Maybe there are some mothers who doesn't want to eat carbs, loading a lot of proteins, but lack of carbs and whatnot. So can you still do your diet program and also do fasting and also do breastfeeding?
Wow, that's a lot of
It's a lot of agenda.
lot of
moms
agenda.
out there.
So anyway, there's no certain food or supplements that could directly boost or increase your milk supply.
Okay.
But you should still eat a healthy diet consisting of all the food groups. So carbs, protein, fibers, fat, liquids, and micronutrients. So it's probably not a good idea to do a diet of that restricts like one of those food groups, because we
Yes.
still need all of those. So a balanced diet with a variety of food. Yeah. And if we're talking about milk supply, it's actually contrary to popular belief. There's no like one substance or one food that is really important that can
Enhance?
enhance the breast milk production.
Right.
Because milk supply only depends on three things really, especially for the older babies. The first one is the stimulation of the breast by the baby's mouth.
Okay.
So like how many times the baby breastfeeds. And then the second one is the emptying of the breast. So even if you don't directly breastfeed your baby, like all the more working mothers here,
Yes.
you know, they still need to empty their breast by
Yes.
pumping.
Right?
And the third one, and probably most important one, is the psychological state of the mom.
You have to be happy.
Yeah, we know that happy and relaxed and supported mothers can produce a lot of breast milk. So during this fasting time, if we can make sure that we eat a healthy and balanced diet, and it's not an easy feat because we have a short amount of time to cram that in,
right, yes.
like hold that in. And then we still need to regularly breastfeed our baby as much as the baby needs. I mean, so it's not like the first 6 months when like around 4 hours then you breastfeed.
Right.
So just the right amount with the solid foods. And if you're away from your baby, then you should still empty the breast by pumping. And you should be happy and relaxed and not stressed.
There you go.
Yeah, so maybe that answers
Yes,
it.
definitely.
Now, is there, you mentioned that you can actually fast when the baby started to eat solid food. Can you have a ballpark number of starting from what age is the baby that the mother can actually fast safely?
Yeah, the age of the baby is very important because we know that from 0 to 6 months, like all the dietary needs of the baby can be fulfilled only by breast milk, so 100% from breast milk. But from 6 to 9 months, 70% of the dietary needs comes from breast milk and 30% from solid food.
Right.
From 9 to 12 months, it's 50% breast milk, 50% solid food. And from 1 to 2 years, or 12 to 24 months, it's only 30% from breast milk, and the 70% is from solid food. So looking at that, we can see that it's probably the safest to fast if your baby is already above 1 year old.
Right.
Yeah, so you only need like the 30% of it from breastfeeding, which you can do like more during the night when you're not fasting.
Yes.
And so during the day, it can be more filled by the food. But for below 6 months, it's actually a consensus that you shouldn't.
Right.
But from 6 to 12 months, there's actually not a general consensus whether you can or should not fast. It depends really on the case by case.
Right.
So, for example, if a mother with a 9-month-old baby who wants to fast, but the baby is not eating well,
Underweight.
and not gaining enough weight
Yes.
per the normal graph,
Yeah.
and I would probably recommend her not to fast.
Right.
But in the other hand, if there's another mom with let's say a 10-month-old baby and the baby's eating well and
Yeah.
they're both healthy and the mother can meet that dietary requirements, then we can consider.
It varies to the situation of the mothers and also with the babies, right? Now, before Dr. Ranti, I just want to ask, what would be somewhat a sensor for us? Let's say a breastfeeding mother still wants to fast, right? And the baby is still eating and whatnot, but it gets crankier. What would be the symptoms when you think that the baby is not getting enough and the breast milk and a good nutrition breast milk from you?
Yeah, so that's the monitoring of the mom's and the baby's condition is very, very important. So if there's even any sign of slight dehydration, whether from the mom or the baby, such as for the mom to feel faint or dizzy or weak, and usually we have a dry mouth
Yes.
and then decreased urine output, then you should consider stop fasting. And if the baby, as you say, is like crankier than usual, fussy, and then probably they cry but no tears come out and the urine is dark and thick, then you should break the fast.
Okay.
Even if those things don't happen, but in a course of a few days and you find that your baby's not gaining the supposed amount of weight, then you should also reconsider.
Right. So there's a lot of monitoring to do because this is, again, you are fasting for more than 10 hours, 14 hours. And it's not only you as a mother, but there's also a baby.
And even though there's a general consensus, everyone might look different, right? And so you have to monitor your own self and your own baby.
Yes. That's
All right. So, what are some of the healthy habits that breastfeeding mothers who are fasting can implement in their fasting month during Ramadan?
Okay. So first, we need to find the certain types of foods that are more beneficial. So we should avoid like processed foods or foods with high amount of salt and sugar, and because those foods they fill you up fast, but it doesn't last very long, and the nutritional content is usually not very good. So stick more to whole foods. They are not very much processed, and pick foods with high water content.
Yes.
And that should make the fasting easier actually for the mom. And what I usually tell the mom is have a regular meal plan for when you're fasting. So for example, during sahur, try to have like one complete meal, and then like 3 glasses of fluids. And then in iftar, you start with a healthy snack
Yes.
and fluids, and followed by a meal and another 2 or 3 glasses of water and fluids. And before you go to bed, you still need to add another meal and probably 1 or 2 glasses of water. Yeah, just to make sure that you're getting enough, because sometimes like we want to eat enough, but we feel in iftar we don't have the appetite for
Yes.
Even sore. Like
Yeah.
for me to eat carbs in the morning, it's like, oh my God, it's so hard.
it. Exactly.
Yeah. So again, but hopefully, to all breastfeeding mothers out there, I think Dr. Ranti has already shared with us some tips and also, what you should intake, especially if you decided to fast, because you can decide either to fast or not to fast. But remember, we're kindly, gently reminding you that you are not choosing only for yourself, but you're choosing for 2 people, you and also your baby. And if you do decide to fast, remember the intake from all the food groups, it has to be nutritious. And it seems that you have to take more intakes from suhoor and then iftar to kind of, balance it out for your baby to get the best nutrition breast milk that they can have whenever they want it to. So thank you very much, Dr. Ranti. Hopefully our breastfeeding mothers would have a healthy fasting, a happy and relaxed one, by the way, because that's going to generate a lot of breast milk.
Yes. Thank you
right.
so much, Doc. Really appreciate it.
You're welcome.
All right, guys, we're up for another short break, but in the meantime, don't forget to follow our social media accounts if you haven't already. We're on Instagram, Twitter, and also YouTube at See Today News. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.